Hey everyone, welcome back to Urban Pro Wrestling. And I'm super excited because we are about to announce our newest and latest signing. Ladies and gentlemen, 24K, Trey Havoc. How are you, man?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, it could be better. Shoulder's still a bit messed up from that car accident, but it's cool. It's cool. I definitely wanted to hop right into it. I love the unpredictability that I always kind of give. So I got to ask, 24K is a serious nickname to give yourself. A lot of people don't realize how valuable 24 karat gold really is.
Yeah,
So
they do.
I've definitely got to know, did you get that name or did you kind of just like make it up and kind of go from there?
So when I first started, I
Hmm.
wanted to do like the Apocalypse Trey Havoc. Like I really want to do like the NXT Baron Corbin character, but it's not my personality at all. And they were always like, "Yeah, just fine. What's special to you? Just find you and just turn that up." And like growing up, I've always had like really bad like self-esteem issues and like self-confidence issues. But it's like where how I look at like 24 karat, like yeah, it's worth more than people think. And with the 24 karat, it's like, okay, you are worth something. So it's more about finding the worth within yourself and then like how you are and basing it off of that.
That's honestly pretty dope. So then I want to kind of transition too into, as you mentioned how you kind of started. So what was the inspiration behind Baron Corbin? Like that's like the first I've kind of heard anyone specifically Baron Corbin's NXT days.
So like it was more so like the presence that he had. Like I'm not the biggest Baron Corbin fan, but those days I was definitely a lot bigger, and I liked the presentation of it. Like at the time, I was also in a pretty bad place in life, so yeah, that's probably had something to do with it. But like the darker aspect of it, like the lone wolf character, like it's like okay, that sings to me, like that resonates to me at this time in my life.
So to move forward too, um, you have been wrestling for quite a bit now, and I always have to ask this, everyone kind of gives me a different answer. What was training like for you? Like, do you kind of remember like the first day? Like, how was it for you?
So I'll give you a little backstory into how I got started, so that way it all ties in. But basically, like I used to work at a food line, and one of my customers came and he had a wrestling shirt, and it was for a company I'd never heard of because I had no idea what the indies were. I knew nothing about that. So the guy has a shirt, and I'm like, hey, that's a pretty cool shirt. Did you go see a show or something? He's like, oh no, I'm a wrestler. Really? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, I've wanted to wrestle since I was like 4, but I never knew how to get in. So he's like, oh, he called a few people, like, hey, come on down at our next show. Come a little bit early. We'll show you some stuff. So after that, like went there, showed them some stuff, and there was this really old guy that was like in the back, and they were like, "You see that guy over there?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "That's the guy that you want to impress. He'll train you if you see something in you." So, I'm doing whatever, just doing whatever the guys are telling me to do, and then I come for a couple of months, and then I go talk to him, and I'm like, "Hey, would you be interested in training me?" And he's like, "Nah." I was, okay. Um, Wait a little bit longer. He ends up sending me a friend request on Facebook. So I message him and I'm like, hey, would you be interested in training me? He's like, this is my address. Get here at this time. Don't be late. So yeah, um, that was fun. That was a good time. It was in the middle of summer in Wilmington, North Carolina, in a backyard with a ring with no padding. So
How did that go?
oh, it was fun, man. It was so much fun. It wasn't. He was like I said, he was an old guy. He'd been doing it for 40 years. His name was James the Beast Beasley. He's passed from cancer. But yeah, he was definitely old school with his training, old school with his maneuvers. Like, yeah, it was a good time.
So sorry about the loss too. What was like the most necessarily influential thing that you kind of learned from him?
Basically, because like before I started like professional wrestling, I did MMA for a little bit, and I did amateur wrestling in high school and in middle school. So he was basically trying to get me to use more of that in my move set. Because he's like, you've got a good base. He's like, you just got to use it. So that was that. And one of his biggest things were, because I used to ask him, I was like, hey, Ben, do you think I'm good enough to do this? Like, do you think I should just hang it up? And he's like, if I didn't think you were worth it, you wouldn't be in my ring. So just helping see the value in myself more.
So then that probably explains why you hit like a tank. I seen one of your matches, and then you had I forgot his name. You just chopped the hell out of him, and he just fell. And I was like, okay, that guy's chest will never be the same again. And you know how like some people like they sell it. You can tell that wasn't a sell. That was genuine pain. I felt bad for that guy. It's and you spoke about touched a little bit on mixed martial arts. I'm actually a big like mixed martial arts fan, big fan of the UFC. Did you ever get into like amateur fighting with it, or was it just more like you trained in necessarily like jujitsu or something like that?
So I have a friend of my like he was a friend of my dad's, and at the time I was in really good shape.
Mhm.
So like, and I was looking for something to do after high school. And he's like, hey, I've got a fight club, come on down. So like the dude was friends with like Derek Brunson and stuff. Like he did like they promoted fights and stuff together in the mall. So yeah, I was training for that. And then my daughter was born. And then I was like, do I want my daughter to see me busted up whenever she sees my face? That's why I kind of like got out of it.
Gotcha. Damn. Derek Brunson too. That's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah. He's a good
Um.
dude. He used to come to all of our wrestling matches and tournaments back when I was in high school. He's a real good dude.
So then you also mentioned you were an amateur wrestler. I'm assuming high school, maybe college.
I was gonna go to college and then I didn't. So yeah.
Gotcha. So how is it like? Because like I know some people say that if when they've done amateur wrestling and then they go into pro wrestling, it's like a tremendous help. Was that kind of the same case for you?
Yeah, it definitely helped with a bunch of the rolls and like a bunch of the suplexes. Like I could already you know, put my hips in for a lot of the throws and stuff. And then yeah, definitely with the rolls, because that's what we do every day at warm up. So it was just like, okay, this is how we implement it here versus how you guys implement it on the mat.
And speaks like you trained, you did all that. How making your character necessarily, and of course adding that self awareness into it and everything like that, and just positivity and like motivation. Was it hard to kind of craft your character like to a certain point where you wanted it to be?
Dude, it's extremely hard. Like being a character or a gimmick that people don't really grasp half the time, because being 24 karat, it's like, oh, everybody is like wants to tell you how you do your gimmick. And that's probably my biggest gripe. Like I can put something out there and they're like, oh, well, you're not doing it right. You're supposed to do it like this, or this is how you need to be. And it's like, how are you going to tell me how to do my like, how are you going to tell me how to do my character, a character I've been working on for 5 years? Like, but to answer the question, like, yeah, it's hard trying to make what I envision the character to be come out more, and really being that presence to where it's like, okay, he's not doing it right too. Okay, I see what he's doing. Like,
So to follow up too, that's actually kind of like a two-part, but I'll start with the first part first. Um, in terms of making your moveset, like obviously powerhouse type of guy. Who did you kind of take inspirations from? Because I mean, there's so many of them.
so I took stuff from like my amateur days. I took stuff from Shelton Benjamin, definitely. Keith Lee, of course. You know, they say we look alike. I don't see it. Um, just different. Elijah Burke. What's his name? His name escapes me right now, but the Pounce dude.
Oh,
Um,
Monty Brown, Monty Brown.
yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but there's different guys like that that I've seen that really like I feel represent me, and I'm like, okay, this is stuff that can fit my move set that will be believable for me to do. Like also like standing moonsaults and like you know, I could do a lot more stuff than I do. I just never have the reason to do it, I guess.
Damn, so that's like an interesting um combination. Just off was it four, I believe. You had Shelton Benjamin, Keith Lee, Monty Brown. I'm missing someone else.
Elijah Burke.
Elijah, oh, the Pope. Wow, wow, that's really interesting. Because that's all through different dynamics. Shelton Benjamin, I always say, was more of a pure wrestler, very technical guy, but also had great grappling abilities. You got Monty Brown, who's just all over the place for a guy his size. Super
Yeah.
agile. Then again, former football players that also. That's why that's actually a really diversely dynamic move set. So then, what you gonna call yourself? I can't. I don't want to say hybrid because you're kind of there, but you're also at that point. It kind of takes you from being a powerhouse too. But you're also more of a technical guy. Like, just kind of dissect like what would you got to consider yourself in what type of realm? This high. That's all different bunch of different styles. Then.
Yeah, I try not to put myself in a box. I try not to be limited. Like I want to be able to get in there with anybody and conform to their style, or they conform. Like like I want to be able to go in there with somebody like a Brian Danielson and have like a crazy like grappling match, then go in there with somebody like Powerhouse Hobbs and just be able to big meaty men slap meat. Like it's I try to be different. Like I said, when I first got into it, I was like 170 pounds. So they had me doing like moonsaults, swantons, and corkscrews and stuff like that. And even though like I've gotten bigger, I can still do that stuff, like for the most part. So like that stuff that's also like, oh yeah, I can do that. And plus, like I said, with my amateur background that gives in the MMA background, it gives me the grappling side of it also. And then just me being big, I can just throw people around.
There you go. I'm loving the confidence. I just can. You know, it's cool. Um,
Yeah.
and then the second part of that, assuming I didn't forget. Um, oh crap! I think I forgot. Oh yeah, the second part. So taking all the inspiration, right, and kind of using all that and using all these different techniques to date. What do you think was like your most important slash best match, Jesus, that you have had?
So as far as most important, I'll have to say the one that you were talking about was me and Diego Hill, because I've been doing this for 5 years. Okay. I haven't been a person that's gotten a lot of opportunities. I've I've been grateful and blessed to like wrestle in a lot of different places, but I haven't gotten that big opportunity. And PWF is a place for me that I see a lot of upside. Like there's a lot of great talent coming through for me to work with and make myself better. So plus Steve Carino was in the audience, so that's always great.
For
But
sure.
yeah, because it used to be his company, but then he sold it when he went to NXT. But so yeah, that was my most important, because after that, it's like okay, and now these doors are opening for me more. Like there's more stuff that people have more eyes on me now than they did before the match, I guess. Um, and that's probably one of my favorite matches, but I can't tell you my best because honestly, I hate them all.
Wow. We
Dude,
just
I
talked
hate
about
all of them.
confidence here. Whew. Tough room.
Yeah, yeah.
So to then say, which match do you think that you learned the most from?
Oh, learn the most.
That gets everybody.
Um. Okay. So I had this match with this really small guy back in like 2019. and at the time I was like 290. I was pushing 300. And basically I would just let him do whatever. I was just bumping like a madman for him, and because I'm like, all right, I don't want to bury this guy. I want him to get his stuff in. He'll let me get my stuff in. So I go to the back, and dude, like promoter and booker, just like pissing and fire. Like they were mad because they were like, why are you letting him disrespect your size? And I was like, oh, I just, thought I'd help him out. I didn't want to, And they're like, no, like you don't do that. Like that's not what you do. Like respect your size, or nobody will. Kind of thing.
Damn. It was that bad.
It was, yeah, like, but like if you're telling me, hey Trey, you could have done this little thing different, I'm thinking you're kicking me out of the business. So it's, yeah.
Yikes. So then, I like asking this one a little bit like right here too, is because we've kind of broken down you, right? So then I definitely like to know more people's like about their ideology of wrestling. For you, like what really was the one, because you mentioned this before, like you were really interesting as a kid, but like who were those wrestlers back then that were really the ones? Because I feel like it's easier to like model your style, but who were the ones that really got you like eyes glued to the TV screen?
So with me being younger and me like just seeing characters, it's like, oh, who's this really tall man in all black who choke slams people? Or like, who's this really like charismatic dude with the face paint and the stuff on his arms? Or it's like, who's Cena? Like, who's like this guy seems to be really popular. Like, and then also the ECW guys like Sandman and stuff, because that's when they'd come in like before they got watered down. It was like, oh, who are these people? Like, this is really crazy. And like Triple H for a while was also like a big guy for me. DX was like, oh, I love DX so much. Crime Time was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Just all those like just the early mid 2000s guys, like as a whole, just glued me in because it was like, okay, these guys are having like very entertaining matches. Their promos are great, like they're great talkers, and it's like, and then this is me going back. It's like not me as a child, like, oh my god, their promos are great.
Alrighty, so for the next question, in ring psychology, how important is it to you, and how have you kind of incorporate that in your matches?
So for me, it's a fight. And it helps me get into my zone there. If I know that, I'm going in here to fight this person's going in here to fight me. It's kind of like you can see it in me because, like, in my matches, if it's somebody that I'm like, okay, this guy can really push me, like we can really go, then you'll see it in my demeanor. Like my demeanor will change. I'll get more serious. But if it's like some smaller guy that I really am not taking seriously, you'll see me mess around a lot more because like, I could just throw this guy around and that's that. But like the match that you were talking about with me and Diego, he's a smaller guy, but he's got some lethal kicks. Like he can do like some crazy stuff in the air that I really can't. So you'll see me like in the beginning coming out to the crowd, yeah, but then once I get in the ring and the bell rings, I'm a lot more serious because it's like, okay, this is an opportunity I have. This is a match I can't lose.
And then the next question being, do you prefer being a heel or do you prefer being a face?
I prefer being the face. I love being the face. I can do a heel if I have to. I like my thing is like it's kind of like a blessing and a curse, but it's like if I'm a face, I kind of like I'm a face everywhere. If I'm a heel, then I have to be a heel everywhere, or it won't be as effective. Like, and then as a heel, I'm on that line. Like, I want to be goofy, but I also want to be taken seriously. But like, it's weird. Like, I much rather I prefer being a face because it gives me more range where I can do stuff. Whereas, like, instead of oh, I have to be super serious or I have to be goofy. Like, I don't know. I prefer being a face.
So then, with that, so can you? 'Cause it's a very interesting that you kind of said it. So, was there a time where you were a heel and you had to like switch up everywhere?
Like, it's funny because when I was a heel everywhere but one place. And then when I turned face, I was face everywhere but that one place. They decided to turn me heel. So it's like now that they're turning me face, now I'm basically a face everywhere. So it's the first time in my entire career that I've been face everywhere that I work.
Wow. So then, I gotta say, like, for us here, promos are definitely huge. Comfortability on the mic, like, was that something that was always kind of like a natural thing for you? It took time to kind of walk into.
It took time because I was horrible at public speaking when I was in school. I hated it. Um, Literally, I was shaking when I do it. But like doing this stuff, and if you give me a mic and I go in front of people, I'm fine. Like now, like I'm fine. Like I can talk to them. They'll talk to me. Get that feedback. When I first started cutting promos, just like me and the camera, hated it. Like I'm literally just now getting to the point where I'm comfortable cutting promos just to a camera. That is sad, but I am. Like just it's public speaking was never my strong suit, but this has definitely like been helping with it.
Well, how bad was it?
Dude, like okay, so in high school we had this thing called senior project where we gather a bunch of information and then we basically present it to three people. Three people. I'm up there shaking and sweating in front of three people. Like, like, but the anabolic steroids versus the yeah no I hated it. But like, if you give me a large group, I can't point people out. So then it's like, okay, this is just a sea of people versus okay, there's these three people who are looking solely at me. Like,
But isn't the see people still looking at you though?
yeah, but it's different because I can cut that out because I'm like, okay, it's a bunch of people, but I can't see like everybody's faces. So it's just like a sea of people. So I can basically look at that like a bunch of chairs. So it's like it's kind of like I don't know, but it's easier on me seeing a bunch of people than just a few people. Like
So, speaking about comfort, like what to this day do you feel was your best promo, either
my
backstage or inside the ring?
my best promo was probably one that I took a few weeks ago because to me, everything that you're doing now should be the best thing that you've ever done. There should be nothing back here that's better than what you're doing now because you should always be improving. But so yeah, the one that I just cut a couple weeks ago, I feel is the best one I've done so far with my inflection, with how I'm presenting myself and getting the point across and making people want to come and see this fight.
Nice. So then, my next question: what are your goals in professional wrestling?
To get signed. My goals as far as professional wrestling goes is if I don't get signed, if I don't go and win big championships, I want to be that guy on the indies that people are like, they should have signed this guy. I don't
Interesting.
understand why they did not sign this guy. I want everybody to know who I am and to know that this guy should have been a main eventer anywhere. There's no reason why they shouldn't have signed this guy.
So then, my next question is, where is they? Yeah, where is because there's so many promotions. Like, do you have any in particular, or just anywhere?
It's hard to tell because you don't know what's going to happen 5 years from now, um, like I could say WWE, I could say AEW, MLW, Impact, any like I'll put the pen to paper. Because like it's just where I fit and where I feel like is going to use me the best, where I can be able to do what I love doing. That's honestly, if I make a livable wage doing what I love doing, I don't care.
I respect that. And then my last question is, what are your goals in UPW?
My my goals at UPW are to be the best at UPW. My goal is to be the top guy in UPW that people come to see. Like I want when I go in there, it's like, okay, everybody, it's good. Trey's here. Like, and it sounds selfish, but you know, this business is pretty selfish. But like to be the top guy, to let people know that I'm reliable. I'm, you know, when I come in, there's no worries. There's no, oh, give it to Trey. He'll handle it. He's good. He's got it. What do I need? Nope, it's Trey. He's good. Like, be that guy for you guys that you guys can grow around and help. Like, I help you guys grow. You guys help me grow. That's what I like. What I want. It's what I strive for.
I'd love to hear it. With that being said, do you have any social media you want to plug?
So I've got my Twitter at Mr. 24K Trey, my Instagram at 24K Trey. That might be switched, so it might be my Instagram at Mr. 24K Trey, my Twitter at 24K Trey. I don't know. My Facebook at Trey Havoc. My YouTube is Trey Havoc. You can see some of my matches there, not all of them because I don't have rights to all of them. But yeah, that's about it. I have a TikTok at Trey Havoc. I post clips of my matches there sometimes whenever I get around to it. I also post videos about my beautiful fiance, my beautiful soon-to-be wife. That's her right there. She's great. Without her, I would not be doing any of this stuff. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Alrighty, and with that, well, you guys have gotten to the end of the video. You guys should have already hit that sub button, hit that like button, and also leave a comment below. And tell all your friends about us. Subscribe to Urban Pro Wrestling, our Instagram, Urban Pro Wrestling, Twitter, Urban PW. You have a Facebook page, Urban Pro Wrestling, like it. And also, website soon to come. I know I've been saying that for like months. We're almost done with it. Turns out when you make a website, there's a lot of little nuances that I did not know about because I am not a tech wizard. So with that being said, it will be out. Shirts like this will be out soon.
Hey, he got the merch.
We do have the merch. I have it in different colors because I'm that awesome. And and with that being said, again, thank you guys so much for watching. I cannot wait till our first show down the road in April. It's really soon to come. I will be releasing a date remotely close to middle of March. So that way you guys know. And of course, a venue as well. So you guys can have things ahead. And they'll probably try to open up tickets around the first week of April. So with all that being said, thank you guys so much. Leave a like, comment, subscribe to Urban Pro Wrestling. We'll see you guys next time. As always, stay off the hook.